What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a new video. I hope you're all doing good. In this video, we're going to be doing something a bit different, and for the first time ever, I'll be shoutcasting another trainer's battles. These battles were sent in to me by one of my friends, so I'm going to be extra critical of his gameplay. Not really, I'll be nice. Now, usually he gets to ace rank and cannot get any higher, so I'm going to try and give him some tips to help him kick on up the ranks, and hopefully in doing so, this sort of video will be beneficial to others in a similar situation. So let's have a little look at the team that he's running before we get into it. He's running Shadow Magnezone, Talonflame and Umbreon. Quite interesting, he's got two things weak to fight in there, but not running the team in a traditional ABB style. So I would actually run the Talonflame in the lead. If he gets a bad lead, can swap into the Umbreon, potentially bait out a fighter that the Magnezone doesn't want to see, and the Magnezone can sweep in the back. So let's see how the battles play out anyway. I've not seen any of these battles before, so I'm just going to give my real-time reaction as if I was playing them and say what I would do. So into the first one, we had a really good lead for the Magnezone. We had Drift Blim, so the opponent made a swap out into Roserade, and we come in with the Talonflame. I think the only move we need to watch out for from the Roserade is Sludge Bomb, but they did actually hit us with a Dazzling Gleam, so they obviously don't have that. So BirdyBoy recognises that, commits fully to the farm down, which is definitely the correct play. Now in comes that Drift Blim. They're going straight for a Flame Charge to vamp up the attack. Looks like they didn't even sneak for a Hex, so that's absolutely perfect. Now we're going for a Brave Bird, which I think is a bit unnecessary because we're going to end up double debuffing our defense, and more than likely they were going to shield that up. We are able to get up to another Flame Charge anyway, so likely this is going to force the last shield from them. So without that Brave Bird, we may have been able to stay in the fight a little bit longer and get up to another Flame Charge. They were able to Hex us down because of that debuff. But it shouldn't really matter anyway. We've got the Magnezone with two shields. We did shield up an Icy Wind there. Could have been a potential Shadow Ball. Then they made a swap out into Sylveon, and we quickly swapped into Umbreon. And I think that was just a knee-jerk swap, because now we've got the Charmer against the Dark type. And we could have just stayed in with Magnezone, which resists all the moves that the Sylveon can throw. And then Umbreon could have dealt with the Drift Blim. But luckily for us, we're just going to keep that shield for the Magnezone, and we are able to do a lot of damage with the neutral last resorts. They're going to go for a move here, and it's just a side shot. Because that's double resisted, we hang on and go for a foul play. Now getting the Sylveon into farm down range for the Magnezone, and we should be looking pretty juicy in this first battle. Do just go straight for the mirror shot just to get rid of the Sylveon, but we could have just farmed down with Sparks. In comes a Drift Blim, and the writing's on the wall, so the opponent backs out, and that's a good win for the BirdyBoy in the first matchup. So things could have got a little bit sticky there with that swap. You don't always want to counter swap when your opponent does it. Always give it a brief second just in case it's better for you to stay in the existing matchup. So let's go into the next one. We've got Walrein on the lead, so another decent lead for the Magnezone. Got to watch out for that Earthquake, but obviously the Ice type is resisted. Just going Mirror Shot here, which is very questionable. They shield it up, which is crazy. So it shows that the opponent wasn't counting, and this is the first time I'm going to talk about counting. It's so important. If you know the counts on your moves and you count correctly, the opponent would have known 100% that was not a wild charge and wouldn't have committed a shield. Lucky for us, BirdyBoy seems to know his counts, and he isn't committing any shields to these Icicle Spears, so he's able to just go for another mirror shot, and they commit another shield, which is insane. So now we're actually able to outpace them to the wild charge, so the Magnezone is completely taking a dump on the Walrein, which you love to see, and now they come in with the Talonflame, and unfortunately where we debuff through that wild charge, we're not able to get up to another one. That would have been crazy to have seen the Magnezone take out the Talonflame as well, but now we're looking really, really good. We've got that shield advantage, coming with our own Talonflame against the mirror match, and now we're just going for a Flame Charge. Now they've debuffed themselves. This will do a lot of damage, but it won't be taking them out, but we now have that opportunity to just farm them down the whole way. They're not able to get up to another move, which is crazy. In comes a Cresselia, so this is looking all gravy once again. We're just going for another Flame Charge, vamping up that attack. We've got a shield in the bank, probably won't even need to use it anyway, but we're going for another Flame Charge. I think at this point we could have just gone for a Brave Bird and it probably would have KO'd. But we're just drawing out a formality here anyway, because this is definitely going to be a win. So just a couple of things to note if you are serious about getting a bit better at GBL. The first thing you definitely need to learn is all your typings and resistances. It's an absolute must. And then secondly, you should just start learning all the counts and try to count every single battle. If you go to PV Poke and you go to the ranking list, there is actually a little option where you can set to show the fast move counts, and then you'll know each of them for every Pokemon in that league. You don't need to know them all, but probably just pick out the main meta ones, and then you can learn new ones as you come up against them in between battles. So into the next one, we've got Melmetal on the lead, which is pretty neutral, but they do have the potential to one-shot us with a superpower. So rather than play that baiting game, the BirdyBoy just goes into Talonflame, which obviously is quite a dodgy matchup in itself, because the Melmetal will be able to one-shot us with a Rock Slide. Talonflame is double weak to Rock as it is Fire and Flying, so we're probably going to get outpaced to the last Rock Slide. We just want to get this Melmetal down as low as possible and obviously get this last shield out of them. And then it's going to be an interesting decision to see what the BirdyBoy comes in with. I think either way, whatever Pokemon they come in with, they're going to get hit by a superpower. So more than likely, they're just going to want to come in with the Umbreon. and look to farm them down if possible. It looks like we should just be within range to be able to snarl them down. So they do hit us with a superpower and it's tanked comfortably by the Umbreon. Then they make a swap into Politoed. So Birdie Boy brings in the Magnezone and then they go for a Mirror Shot, which is absolute madness. And I can only think that they panicked there and thought that the Politoed was going to get to an Earthquake. A Weather Ball definitely wouldn't have KO'd, and the move count's coming into play once again because it's 8 Mud Shots for an Earthquake and 6 Sparks for a Wild Charge. So they had a couple of turns to get the Magnezone in and they definitely would have won the CMP tie as well. So now they've actually taken the Blizzard, which is lucky they didn't have Earthquake in the end. They were able to survive and get off that Wild Charge, and now we can bring in this Umbreon against the Nidoqueen, and the Umbreon has a lot of energy to go, so things are looking pretty decent here. Unfortunately, we don't have Psychic that would one-shot the Nidoqueen. We are going for Last Resort, which is a misplay. You should always go for the foul play in a neutral matchup, and this is because you're not getting Stab with the Last Resort. If you don't know what Stab is, it means same type attack bonus. For every move that's used by a Pokemon of the same type in, they get a 20% bonus in that attack. When you're using something that isn't of the same type in, you're obviously losing out on that. And just for reference, in that matchup with the Nidoqueen, a foul play does 43 damage for 45 energy, whereas the Last Resort did 46 for 55 energy. So it's just more energy efficient to go for that foul play. So into the next one, we had Umbreon on the lead for the Magnezone, and the Birdie Boy decided to stay in and he went for a Mirror Shot. So I would definitely build up to a potential Wild Charge here. And what I would probably do is actually build up to 2 Wild Charges back to back, let them hit us with a foul play and then get off the back-to-back Wild Charges, try and get some damage and a shield out of them, and then swap maybe into our own Umbreon. But in this situation, they did just go down to foul play. So now we're going to come in with a Talonflame and look to farm them down the whole way. So this isn't looking too bad because now we get to get that energy lead. We may have been able to farm them down the whole way with Incinerates, but not wanting to get hit by another foul play. Birdie Boy goes for the Flame Charge just to boost that attack. And now we're going to make a catch into the Umbreon from the Swampert's Hydro Cannon. So that's a really, really nice catch there. And now they come in with Clefable. So things aren't looking the best. We're going to be able to do some nice neutral damage with the Last Resorts. And the only win con here is to farm down the Clefable with Talonflame and then go for back-to-back Flame Charge baits and then a Brave Bird. But I do not think that is going to be happening anytime today. Come back in with that Talonflame. So if the opponent knows what's good, he should just let this go through, which he does let it go through. And now we are looking absolutely f***ed. It was always going to be a difficult one for the Birdie Boy to pull off, considering the Swampert's quite good against Magnezone and the Talonflame. So a couple of things could have done differently. Committing to the farm down against the Umbreon, not throwing that Flame Charge, would have given him a lot of energy to go against the Swampert, potentially get a shield advantage. And then playing out that opening matchup, I wouldn't go for Mirror Shot against anything unless you're baiting. There's just absolutely no reason to go for Mirror Shot unless it's super effective or you're baiting, because it's a really, really weak move. You do have the potential of getting that attack debuff, but it's not very common. I think it's like a 1 in 3 chance. So I would just always build up to the Wild Charges in those lead positions and then dip once you've thrown one. So into the next one. We've got Luxray on the lead, so this is pretty neutral. Both of the Pokemon will be hitting for resisted damage. Birdie Boy goes straight for that Mirror Shot again, and they actually shield it up, which is pretty crazy. A Wild Charge would have done a decent amount of damage, but I don't even think we were at it. So misplay by the opponent again. Now Birdie Boy shields up a potential Wild Charge, and they do bait us with the Psychic Fangs. Now I do think they built up quite a lot of energy, so potentially this could be the Wild Charge. So they do double shield, and again it's a Psychic Fang, so that's absolutely ball breaking. We go for the Flame Charge, and luckily we are getting that last shield out of them. Now this is very quick again, so I assume this is just going to be another Psychic Fang, so I don't really understand what the opponent's doing. Is this just a single move Luxray? No idea. So it does allow us to win the matchup, and we're going to be able to win that switch advantage. So in comes an Alolan Golem, and we're going to come in with the Umbreon. So we should be able to win this quite comfortably, I would have thought, because of the tankiness of the Umbreon. And if the Golem goes for a Wild Charge, then obviously they're going to be debuffing themselves even further. They just go for a Rock Blast, which is a pretty crappy move. And now both players simultaneously swap out into their other Pokemon, and it's actually an M-Ball, which is bad for the Magnezone, but it doesn't matter because Wild Charge is going to just demolish that thing. Get out of here. And now we're just going to go for the Mirror Shot against the Golem, which is neutral due to the Rock typing, so that is the correct play. And then we should be able to easily sweep this game up with the Umbreon. I think even 2 Wild Charges probably wouldn't be enough to take it out. They just go for another phony Rock Blast again though. And yes, this is an easy win. So well played by a Birdie Boy there. Don't know what told him to make that swap out, but it was the perfectly timed switch. Didn't give that M-Ball any chance to build up any energy, so then they could just demolish them with a Wild Charge. And that was a GG. So into the next one, really, really bad lead with Swampert. We are staying in though, which is questionable. I definitely would have swapped out as both moves resisted. Please don't tell me they shield this mirror shot up. They actually shielded up a mirror shot. That would have done so little damage. It's unbelievable. How do I get these matches? You'll have to let me know, Birdie Boy. So anyway, at this point we're going to have to commit 2 shields because they're definitely going to outpace us to the Hydro Cannon. And now we should just be going for a wild charge, but we're going to go for another mirror shot bait. Really hope that they shield this up. And at this point I would dip, and they do dip, so that's absolutely perfect. And now they throw their Hydro Cannon, so that's even better. Waste some energy on a Pokemon that can easily tank it, and they are staying in as well, so that's really good for us. And hopefully that means they haven't got a direct answer to the Umbreon like a counter user or a Charmer. So expecting them to throw another Hydro Cannon here, and they do throw the Hydro, and then they actually make a swap out into Giratina. So I actually have no idea what's going on in this battle right now. What must the opponent have in the back if he's bringing in a Giratina to an Umbreon, and it isn't even a Dragon Breath Giratina either, so this is just going to be a complete mauling. Going for another foul play, and we're not letting through any Shadow Claws, so Birdie Boy timing his moves quite well. And the Umbreon absolutely going to town on this team. This is still not going to be enough to take us out, so the Umbreon probably will be able to take out the Giratina. And then we're just going to have to deal with whatever they've got in the back. Unfortunately, they do still have the Swampert with some energy, and we've got Talonflame and the Magnezone there. Neither of them really want to see the Swampert at all. Luckily for the Birdie Boy, they brought the Swampert back in, which has got to be a misplay. What have they got in the back? They've got a Walrein. So in comes the Magnezone, and this is going to completely destroy the Walrus. Goodbye, complete one-shot, and maybe come to me for some angry coaching yourself, because I don't know what you were doing half of that battle. Why would you shield up a Mirror Shot with the Swampert, and why would you bring in a Giratina into Umbreon when you've got a Walrein in the back? Completely baffling. Anyway, GG's to the Birdie Boy, and into the next one we go. And we had a Sylveon on the lead, so the opponent made a swap out into the Machamp, and Birdie Boy came in with Talonflame, and they went for a close combat. So these battles are literally all over the place. Who runs close combat on their Machamp? At this point, you could probably be quite confident they haven't got Rock Slide, but you never know, so they do shoot it up just to be safe, and it is another close combat, so maybe they just had close combat there. Who knows? So in comes the Sylveon, which makes me think they must have someone else in the back that doesn't want to see Talonflame, because obviously the Charm is resisted by the Fire typing. They got completely suckered by that Flame Charge bait, so this Brave Bird is definitely going to one-shot the Sylveon. Get out of here, Fairy. And it is actually a Roserade in the back. 2 Incinerates do half health. We come in with the Magnezone, and it doesn't matter that this Wild Charge is resisted. It's definitely going to take out the Roserade, and that was just a complete and utter battering. What else can you say about that battle? It was quite fun to see. So into the next one we go. We've got Venusaur on the lead, and this is pretty neutral, where both opponents are going to be resisting the charge moves. Not that it matters at this rate, because there's so much lag that we're not even going to be able to get one off till next week. The Birdie Boy trying to infinitely make a swap into Talonflame, nothing is happening, and then the opponent just backs out. What an absolutely riveting battle, and you will not find content like this anywhere else. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave me a juicy comment saying how fucking good I am, alright? Into the next one, and we've got an absolutely terrible lead with Machamp, and this is the problem really, because they swapped into Talonflame, and now they've swapped out of the Machamp, which means that's definitely going to be aligned with either of their back 2 Pokemon, which is weak to fighting. So that's why you want to set out the ABB team with your strongest Pokemon against fighting in the front. But in any case, it has worked out okay, because they came in with Togekiss, and this is not a particularly good matchup for Togekiss. Obviously, we're going to have to shield up that Ancient Power, but they did use both their shields, so now we have the option to farm down. We could have let the Talonflame go down and come in with the Magnezone and farm down the whole way, but this is just as good, because now we're going to obliterate something with a Brave Bird. And what is that came in? Was it a Charizard? So this is pretty much going to one-shot. It does completely one-shot the Charizard. Get out of there. Not even any damage taken by fast moves. And one move is enough with the boost of the Flame Charge. And now we just have that Machamp in the back. But it's not actually going to matter now, because we have a shield advantage, and a Wild Charge is definitely going to take it out, because it hits for massive damage. And Birdie Boy takes the win from a pretty horrible lead. I don't know why the opponent came in with Togekiss against the Talonflame. They definitely should have come in with Charizard, and they definitely shouldn't have used both their shields in that secondary matchup, which they were always going to lose anyway. Into the next one, Magnezone throwing a Wild Charge, and it lands for massive damage against the Alolan Mark. The opponent choosing not to shield, maybe he thought it was the bait. And now Birdie Boy choosing not to shield, which is quite surprising. That was always going to one-shot. Maybe he was just looking to come in with one of the other 2 Pokemon and get that energy lead. We all know that Talonflame with an energy lead is very, very dangerous against most opponents. They come in with Walrein, and it's actually a Waterfall Walrein, which is quite interesting. Don't know if Birdie Boy has realised that, but the Waterfalls are really starting to junk. They're definitely going to have to shield this up if they want to keep the Talonflame alive, so they do that. And now they're going for another Flame Charge. Let's see if the opponent wants to respect this. Now it's been boosted, and they do actually commit their second shield, so that's pretty good. And Birdie Boy makes a swap into Umbreon now. Let's see what they got in the back. It is a Sylveon, so not the best for the Umbreon. But as we saw earlier, the last results do start to add up, so we should be able to get it quite low, and then they should have realised the win con is already to let the Umbreon go down, and then come in with Talonflame, farm up enough for a Brave Bird or a Flame Charge. Probably a Brave Bird is going to be needed to take out the Walrus. So yeah, definitely let's go through. It doesn't matter, Psyshock's not going to do anything anyway because it is double resisted, like I said. Dark, double resist Psychic, just like Ghost and normal. So we kind of want it to get taken out, but it doesn't matter. The switch time has come up, so they make a swap into Talonflame and snipe them, which is a good call because they're just able to get up to the Brave Bird. Is this going to be enough to take out the Walrein? I do think it's going to be. Oh, they live it by just barely any HP, like 2. And the Umbreon, unfortunately, has only got 1 HP. And they're going to take the loss there. That was quite unfortunate. I don't think they really did anything too wrong. Maybe could have kept their Magnezone alive at the start, but it was unfortunate to come up against a Waterfall Walrus. So into the next one, they actually had Ampharos on the lead, and they swapped out. So they've been met with a Sylveon once again. So I probably would have stayed in that initial matchup. Obviously, the Ampharos can threaten with a Focus Blast, but it's going to take them a long time to get up to that. And by then, you can put the pressure on with the Wild Charges. Even though they're resisted, 2 will probably KO anyway. So, but this isn't terrible because they're going to be able to come in with either the Talonflame or the Magnezone and farm down the Sylveon and be resisting the charge moves. If they come in with the Magnezone anyway, if they come in with Talonflame, then they can hit them with a Psyshock, but that's not going to do too much damage. So they do choose to come in with the Talonflame, and they go straight for a Flame Charge before they can get off the Psyshock, and the opponent shields it up, which is absolutely insane. They're saving that charge move, it looks like. So at this point, we're in a bit of a sticky situation. A good option would have been to try and catch a Thunder Punch on the Magnezone, but then we'd need to take out the Ampharos with the Magnezone anyway. So we did just stay here, and we used both shields, and they snuck through a Volt Switch, so that's not good for us at all. And I imagine that probably is going to cost us. Yeah, they're just able to get up to a Thunder Punch before we can Incinerate down. So it's not ideal, but this is actually pretty good. We can come in now with the Magnezone, go for that hard farm down, and we're going to have energy to go against what they come in with. Unfortunately, it's a Swampert, so this is not great for us. This is still going to do a lot of damage to Wild Charge, not quite half, but they're going to be able to get to a Hydro Cannon before we can get to another move, and that's definitely going to be taking us out. So another hard matchup there. I probably would have said it was best to stay in with a Magnezone in that opening matchup against Ampharos. See if you can force shield or switch advantage, because really the Umbreon needed to get matched up with the Swampert because it was going to be good against either the Magnezone or the Talonflame. In general, I would just say it's best to try and avoid making that first swap unless it is a really terrible matchup. So in this one, we actually had a good lead. We had the Grand Ball up against the Magnezone, which is going to be resisting the Fairy type moves. So the opponent actually made a swap into the Giratina, and we're going to come in with the Umbreon. They did actually throw a Mirror Shot once again, and they got the debuff. So at that time, I would say, well, you know, fair play. They actually got the attack lowered. So now this is going to be such an easy matchup for the Umbreon. And at this point, what I would do is just max out my energy. So I definitely would go up to 100 and then throw another Foul Play, and maybe even just throw a Great. That way you'll be able to snarl them down the whole way and have 100 energy for whatever comes in. When you're in such a commanding matchup like this, it's best to try and max out an energy as you can. But they actually got to the switch timer and come straight back in with that Grand Ball. So that's absolutely fine. They're going to come straight back in with the Magnezone, just go for a Mirror Shot, force that last shield. And at this point, 2 options. You could actually just let this go down, come in with a Talonflame and farm it down the whole way. Or you can just choose to shield up like the Birdie Boy did and now go for another Mirror Shot, which is going to put the Grand Ball pretty low, I would have thought. And now they're just going to win that switch advantage straight up. So in comes Walrein, and now we're going to have to bring in the Talonflame against the Walrus. But once again, it's a Waterfall Walrus, so this is really interesting. I've not actually seen too many of these at all myself. Maybe at the lower ranks you're seeing them. So at this point, yeah, probably just let it go down. And then, yeah, you haven't really got to worry about too much. You can shield this up if you want. It's only going to be an Icicle Spear. Either way, it's probably going to do about the same sort of damage as a Dragon Claw from the Giratina. So they go for a Foul Play, take them out, and then they've got their Giratina in the back. So probably could just tank a Dragon Claw. It wouldn't have been a problem at all. So that's going to be a nice comfortable win for the Birdie Boy once again. That was a rock, paper, scissors win, if ever I did see one. But they did well to play at still. So let's go into the next one. And it's another good lead. Got Togekiss. And this is absolutely beautiful. Going to be able to farm up a ton of energy. But the opponent does make a swap into Obstacle. And they actually catch the Mirror Shot. So that's quite interesting. We do actually get the attack debuff once again. So that's beautiful. And they go into Umbreon. So I am so confused. I don't understand. And then they throw Night Slash. So, okay. Now we're going for a Foul Play. What is going on? You're throwing the wrong moves, guys. Come on. Dark resist dark, all right? Should be going for last resort now. So if we go for the last resort, good. I'm assuming that the Obstagoon has a second move because I think it's only 10k on the unlock. So I'm not sure why they're not even built up to a Gunk Shot if that's what they've got. They do take the opportunity to swap out into Togekiss. And now we're going for that last resort, which is going to chip away at them. And now the Birdie Boy decides to swap into the Magnezone once again to maintain that alignment. So at this point, going to shield up potential Flamethrower. So we did CMP tie, so at this point I would have undercharged because you're going to probably KO with a mirror shot if they let it go. They did shield it up anyway, but look, we can farm down with sparks, so you should just undercharge and done no bubbles at all, and then you could have got a lot of farm to throw this wild charge, but it worked out because they used their shield anyway, which I definitely wouldn't have done. I would have come in with the obstacle and farmed him down after he threw the mirror shot. So now we've actually got the lap press with frost breath, so you don't see that too often, and we're definitely going to have to shield up this potential surf now. And I think because this is the shadow version, maybe a brave bird will put it down really low. It probably won't be enough to KO, but they're going to need to swap out to clear that debuff because they're not going to survive a surf. If not, I would have said to try and catch a surf, but who knows bloody counts for frost breath. No one uses that move, so I haven't got a clue. So let's see if this KOs. It does get them down quite low, but they did sneak and incinerate, which pulls through the win for them, so it got quite close in the end there, but that was well played. Good awareness to swap out the Talonflame there once it was debuffed, and then they were able to survive that surf in the end, so that was really nicely done. Into the next one, we had a really good lead again with the Articuno, and then they actually made a swap into Reggie and caught the mirror shot, so that was really, really well played by them. Now we're going to come in with that Talonflame. And now, because of Zap Cannon, this matchup is far from comfortable. It used to be such an easy matchup for the Talonflame, resisting both of the moves that they could throw. But now, obviously, they have that Zap Cannon nuke, and we don't have a way of debuffing them. So it's actually going to be quite a problem for us. We get off another Flame Charge to force a shield, which is definitely the right thing to do. Otherwise, they're going to end up going 2-0 shields. At least this way, we can actually get one shield out of them, and we can actually farm them down and have a ton of energy ready to go for whatever they come in with. So that's definitely the way to play that. They come back in with that Articuno, which is absolutely perfect. We're going to go for the Flame Charge here, which will be doing super effective to them. They let it go through, so that's quite a big call. I think we're actually at neutral attack because we were hit by 2 Zap Cannons as well as the 2 Flame Charges we threw, but then they actually hit us with an Ancient Power. So you don't always see the Articuno with Ancient Power. It's usually Hurricane they run as a second move, so that was quite unlucky to have had to eat that. And oh, look at that, the Mud Shot down by the opposing Swampert, which is very ambitious. But they pulled it off, and now they have a ton of energy to go against the Umbreon. Luckily, it can tank 2 Earthquakes quite easily, which shows how ridiculous it is really, because Earthquake hits like a truck. So we go for a foul play, and we get some tasty lag, as per usual. Nice to see. It's not just me that experiences this. Well, I knew that was the case anyway. And it looks like the opponent is now frozen. So not sure what's happened. They must just be frozen on their screen and we're still attacking, which I do recommend. I wouldn't say that it's worth stop attacking. Who gives a shit about being a good sport in this game when it's busted as crap? And we take the win easily anyway. But the opponent might have actually just given up because that looked like it was going to be a win. Swampert didn't really have enough to take out the Umbreon. Plus we had some more energy on our other Pokemon. So into the next one. And this is the last battle of the video. We picked up another pretty decent lead with that Walrus. And now they swapped into Talonflame. So we go for the Mirror Shot bait. And like I say, this is the time to use Mirror Shot. They might have thought we're going to throw a Wild Charge and then dip, so we use that to our advantage, and we actually get both shields out of them and sneak for a Spark for our trouble, so looking really, really nice. And now we're actually going to let the Magnezone go down, so that's quite an interesting call. I think we might have made it to a Wild Charge there, but you never know, so it probably was safer to do this. Now we're going to come in with our own Talonflame. They go for a Flame Charge, and now we're going to go for our own Flame Charge. So we could have gone for the Brave Bird, which would have KO'd, but then we'll be debuffing ourselves. But it looks like the Birdie Boy has chosen to actually commit both the shields and use this opportunity to boost the attack on the Talonflame, which is going to be very deadly for whatever comes in. So they did actually CMP tie, so they did the undercharge, which is absolutely perfect. That's definitely what they should have done there. Nice play. So now they're going to have a little bit of a head start against the Walrein, which I think already had some loaded energy. So an Icicle Spear won't KO, and we should easily get to a Brave Bird, which now it's boosted. It's definitely going to KO the Walrus. This is going to do massive damage. So goodbye, Wally. And let's see what they come in with. It is actually a Trevenant. So one Incinerate did a lot of health to them, but we have Umbreon in the back. So this is an easy win. I think it's going to take like, what, 4 or 5 Seed Bombs to take out the Umbreon. They actually go for a Shadow Ball. Does a nice amount of damage, but it doesn't matter. This match is won by the Umbreon, and that's going to wrap us up. So I really hope you enjoyed this style of video. If you did, please let me know. And please let me know if you'd like me to shoutcast any of your battles. I hope you got something out of it. In the future, I might do a little bit slower battles just so I can break it down even more and talk about the counts and stuff like that. So thank you very much to the Birdie Boy for sending me those battles. I really, really enjoyed commentating over the top of them. And we did have some devastating moves land in that video, didn't we? Some of them were really, really entertaining. So once again, thank you so much for checking out the video. Please like and subscribe. And until the next one, you stay angry, trainers.